Hey readers, today we're going to read a story called Clark the Shark. While Mrs. Ferris is reading it to you, I want you to think about the setting of the story. Remember, the setting of the story is where and when the story takes place. So you can think about where it was, if it's at a school, or if it's at a castle, or if it's at home. You can also think about the time that it took place. Was it in the morning? Was it in the afternoon? Or was it during the winter? Or during the fall? Or during the summer? I want you to think about that because afterwards we're going to practice talking about the setting of the story. So we can use some talk bubbles. The story is in the, you could either say morning or night. And then the story takes place. Where does the story take place? We're going to be thinking about that today. Hey everyone, I'm going to read a story to you today called Clark the Shark. And it's written by Bruce Hale. Remember, the author writes the words to the story. And it's illustrated by Guy Francis. And Guy Francis, he drew all the pictures. He's the illustrator. So author, illustrator. Clark the Shark. In all the wild blue seas, in all the wide blue world, the top school for fish was Theodore Roosterfish Elementary. And all of the fish at Theodore Rooster fish, the biggest, the strongest. Fish was Clark the Shark. Clark loved school and he loved his teacher, Mrs. Inky Dink. He loved to play upsy-downsy, spin-a-majig with his friends. Clark loved his life. There he is. Clark the Shark. School is awesome, shouted Clark the Shark. Less shouting, more reading, said Mrs. Inky Dink. Lunchtime is sweet, yelled Clark the Shark. Munch your own lunch, said his best friend Joey Mackerel. Recess rocks, bellowed Clark the Shark. You're playing rough, Clark, cried all the other kids. Yes, Clark loved his life with all of his sharky heart, but he loved everything way too much. He was too loud. He was too wild. He was just too much shark for the other fish to handle. And after a while, no one would play with Clark. No one ate lunch with him. No one would sit with him at lunch or at circle time. Even his best friend, Joey Mackerel, would always say, "Cool your jets, Clark. You're making me crazy." I wonder why they don't want to play with Clark anymore. One day, Clark said to Mrs. Inky Dink, "What's wrong with everyone?" Mrs. Inky Dink patted his fin. "Clark, sometimes you play too hard, and you munch too hard, and gosh, you even help too hard." "But life is so exciting," said Clark. "There's a time and a place for everything," said Mrs. Inky Dink, "and sometimes the rule is stay cool." So I think she's encouraging him to be a little more calm. At recess, Clark tried to stay cool, but he pushed the swing too much. Zing! "Sorry, I forgot." "Yikes," said Joey Mackerel. At lunch, Clark tried to stay cool, but everything smelled so good that he munched a bunch of lunches. "Sorry," said Clark, "I forgot." "We're starving," said his friends. Look, he ate other people's lunches. He just got so ahead of himself. Do you think Clark means to do this? Do you think he's doing this on purpose? In class, Clark tried to stay cool, but a good book got him all shook up. Now, Clark, said Mrs. Inky Dink, this isn't the time or place. Tell me what's the rule. Stay cool, he said. Hey, that rhymes. Rule and cool. Then Clark got a big idea in his sharky head. Maybe if I make a rhyme, he said. I'll remember every time, he thought. The next day, he put his plan to work. In class, when lessons got exciting, Clark wanted to bounce out of his seat. Instead, he told himself, when teacher's talking, don't go walking. And what do you know? It worked. Attaboy, Clark, said Mrs. Inky Dink. Clark smiled. Lessons are fun. He did things to help himself remember to listen. At lunch, everything smelled so yummy. When Clark wanted to eat and eat and eat and never stop, he told himself, only munch your own lunch. And it worked. Way to go, Clark, said his friends. Clark grinned. Lunch is fun. At playtime, Clark told himself, easy does it, that's the way. Then my friends will want to play. And playtime was fun. Once more, Clark loved his life because he wasn't being too rough with everyone. But then a shadow fell across the playground, a ginormous shadow with tentacles galore. It's the new kid. He looks crazy, cried Joey Mackerel. Swim for your lives. The squid squashed the slide. The squid squashed the slide and snapped off at the wings. Oops, my bad, said the new kid. This is the new kid. Wait, said Clark. He just wants to play. Let's find a way. And he swam all the way, he swam at the new kid with all his might. Clark played harder than he ever had before. Upsy downsy and spin-a-ma-jig. Why, he even made a new game. Wow, that was a lot of fun, said the new kid breathlessly as he settled down. If you want to come to school, you've got to stay cool, said Clark. That's right, Clark, said Mrs. Inky Dink. And thanks for taking care of our new classmate, Sid the Squid. Hooray for Clark the Shark, everyone cheered. That night, Clark's mother asked, what did you learn at school today, dear? There's a time and a place for everything, Clark said. Sometimes you just have to stay cool. But sometimes a shark's gotta do what a shark's gotta do. The end. Now that we've finished reading that story together, you can take out your setting paper. This is going to be inside the big packet of papers that Mrs. Ferris sent home a couple weeks ago. And I want you to draw a picture of when the story took place. Was it in the daytime or the nighttime? And then I want you to draw a picture of where the story took place. These lines are here if you want to label or if you want to write the sounds to describe your picture to me.